Hey guys, welcome back. It's your favorite Gimp with a Limp, and I am here to show you just a few of the new items from Wave 4 of Xwing 2.0. I didn't bother taking and getting any of the other new stuff. Well, it's not really new stuff. I know they released like B-Wings and I think the Falcon again and some other stuff. All stuff that had been released previously except for these three items here. And one of the things that anyone who's been playing since 1, right, more than likely has plenty of those ships already, so they don't need to get them. I have heard that they're thinking about coming out with card packs, which I hope to God they do, because I don't want to take and have to buy ships that I already have plenty of, that I don't need any more of the models to take and get the pilot cards, the new pilot cards, because I know these packs are going to have new pilot cards in them that aren't in the conversion kits that people are going to want to use. So hopefully they'll come out with those card packs. We'll see. But anyway, we do have the Royal Naboo Starfighter, the Rebel Transport, which irritated me a little bit right off the bat, and the Hyena Bomber for the Resistance. All cool models. I gotta say, the Naboo Starfighter looks excellent. I'm really happy with this one. They did a good job with it. So let's look at its dial real quick. And one of the things I was thinking about was the fact that this ship is very similar already to the Delta Fighter, and they had to distinguish it. And I think they did okay for the most part. They kind of laxed in some areas that I would have preferred they not do, but we'll see. I'll show you guys the cards and you'll see what I'm talking about. The ship's maneuverable, doesn't have a 1 hard. I kind of would have preferred it had a 1 hard, even maybe if it was red, but yeah, they decided not to go with it. 2 hards being white though, that's very nice. 3 Talon, which that's cool. 3 hards. Usually you don't see too many of those, so I'm happy with that. And then 4 and 5 straight, so it's pretty fast. Above average dial, not the best dial that I've ever seen, but decent enough to do the job. And if we start looking at some of the cards, let's get this a little closer. And if we start looking at some of the cards, that's where you can really see some of the differences between this and the Delta Fighter. See, its stat line is 2, 2, 3, and 2, right? The Delta Fighter has one more, the Jedi Starfighter is the one I'm talking about, the Delta. It has 1 more agility, but 1 less shield, unless you do the Delta B, and I'm not talking about that, just its straight stat line. So the difference on these is pretty much 1 shield and 1 agility, and I kind of would have been expecting these guys originally to have 3 agility. I can see why they went 2, because otherwise there really is very little difference between this and the Delta. But the built-in ability in each one of these kind of sets the pace for it, makes up for that loss of agility, in that after you fully execute a speed 3 or 5, 3 to 5 maneuver, rather, you may perform a evade action. That is going to make up for the lack of evade dice on this. That's a real nice ability. I definitely like that. And I like Rick Ollie here, their top pilot, pilot skill 5. While you defend or perform a primary attack, if the speed of your revealed maneuver is higher than the enemy ship's, roll 1 additional die. That makes his attack and evasion both 3 if he can maneuver the right way. And we all know a lot of people out there are so good at this, way better than I am at this game, and can constantly keep themselves at speed 3 to 5 to keep that evade. Obviously, you want to go fast with this guy, so you're going faster than your opponent. So I'm definitely looking forward to trying him out. I don't have all the cards that come with him because there's so many that we've seen before, so I only took a few out, the ones that we haven't seen, like the pilot cards and some other stuff. Anakin Skywalker, obviously, back when he was a kid. Before you reveal maneuver, you may spend 1 force to barrel roll. This is not an action. I love the fact that they included that because it pays homage to the movie where he's like, oh, let's do a roll. That's a neat trick. So it was really cool that they included that into the ship card itself. Padme is in this. When an enemy ship is in your arc, and it defends or performs an attack, that ship can modify only one focus result. Other results can still be modified. I'm kind of wondering what that means. All right, I get it can only modify one focus result, but what are the other results that it's talking about? I guess it's meaning that you can still like target lock blank results or things like that. It's probably what that's referring to. And then we have Dene Elleberger. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. While you defend or perform an attack, if the speed, and a lot of these have to do with speed, the speed of your revealed maneuver is the same as the enemy ship's, that ship's dice cannot be modified. That's a cool kind of support ship, or it can actually be an attacking thing too. It'll be neat. That's really trying to predict your opponent. How fast are they going to go? Let's match them up. But there are some cool cards. Hold on, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this because it goes along with it. This droid, after you reveal your dial, you may set your dial to a maneuver of the same bearing of a speed 1 higher or lower. That is really going to play off with stuff like this or Rick Ollie in the fact that they'll be able to have that droid and then change their speed after they've revealed their dial. So they'll have a little bit of extra information, can really change things up. Something else interesting is these Naboo handmaidens. You see that there are 2 dots there, so they're limited, but you can have 2 of them. And after placing forces, assign the decoy condition to one friendly ship other than Naboo handmaiden, and that is the decoy. While you defend, each friendly Naboo handmaiden in the attack arc may spend 1 evade token to change one of your results to a evade result. If you are a Naboo Royal Starfighter, each friendly Naboo handmaiden in the attack arc may spend 1 evade token to add 1. So it seems like this is what I'm kind of wondering about. It seems like this decoy ability works if it's been assigned to you. But if you're in the Royal M1 Starfighter, then it doesn't have to be assigned to you. I'm not entirely sure. One of the other things you guys can see down at the bottom, it symbolizes the new token that comes with the game for the decoy condition. And it seems like they've got a lot of new tokens with each wave. And I'm kind of, stop releasing these one-off tokens, stuff like this that you have to keep track of. I prefer stuff like Focus, Evade, Target Locks, stuff you'll have plenty of. That way, if you lose one, it's not that big of a deal, instead of having to try to keep track of all these individual tokens for all these individual pilot skills. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt. Another new droid. While you perform an attack, you may spend 1 evade token to change 1 focus to an attack result. That's obviously something to play off the starfighters, make them a little more offensive. I definitely like that. We already talked about this droid. Plasma torpedoes are back into the game. Obviously, you have to spend a target lock. They don't have 4 dice anymore. They've only got 3 dice, still range 2 to 3. They do have 2 charges, which is nice. But during the neutralize result step, crits can be canceled before regular hits. And the thing is, after this attack hits, the defender loses a shield. So they change the order of when the shield loss occurs. So that's an interesting little boon to those. Passive sensors. This is something I see a lot of people employing as soon as possible. Spend 1 charge. You can only perform this action and you perform action step. While your charge is inactive, you cannot be coordinated. Before you engage, if your charge is inactive, you may perform a calculate or a target lock action. I see people using this for like lower pilot skill ships that need to have a target lock to fire off some munitions, but they can't get the target lock because they move first and the enemy ships are still out of range. Well, now if the enemy ship is out of range and it moves in, you'll have that chance to get that target lock. So I see passive sensors coming around. All right, that's all the cards I pulled out for the Naboo Starfighter. Like I said, real good looking ship. I definitely like it. I think it came out pretty well. And I'm looking forward to trying a couple of these guys out on the board. I think they'll pair pretty well with the Delta Starfighter and the already in the game. So I'm looking forward to trying these guys out. This, the Rebel Transport, I'm a little on. I've got the pod that comes with it set to the side for a specific reason. This irritated me. This is the ship. Let me pick it up as it is in the box, right? It looks like this, and your little pod is attached and can be separated. So it can be its own ship, kind of like the Millennium Falcon with its escape pod thing, right? So basically 2 ships in one box, but they only include 1 base. They really should have included a second base. I think that's a cop-out, a little cheap out on them when a lot of people like to display their models, on a shelf. That's how I actually have mine. They're all separated by faction, all set up nice and neat on a shelf, and it just looks nice that way. And then I'm missing a stand for one of them, or I have to keep that, which this just does not fit on. Let's see if I can show you guys here. It really doesn't hang on all that well, to be honest with you. You guys see, it does stay there, but it's wiggly, It doesn't kind of snap in there. I really don't feel that confident with it that it's going to last. I mean, you can see it's already coming loose now. So I'm not sure on that one, on the whole Rebel Transport. But the fact that they didn't include a base, like I said, just a cop-out. That's a little cheap out on them. They really could have included 1 extra base and a couple extra pegs, especially considering this is basically a small size ship, and it's costing, like $10 more, $12 more than other small base ships. So really, this small piece of plastic, cop-out not including it. This is the dial for the whole Rebel Transport, and then this one is for the pod itself. We'll take a look at the whole one real quick. Not a great dial. These things aren't built to be maneuverable. A lot of their pilots operate off of, or their bonuses operate off of stressful maneuvers, so I see why they included a lot of red on it, but there is a buttload of red on there. Interesting that they have, 1 hards, but they are red. This ship can go backwards and it can stop, so that is something we don't see too often in too many ships. But it doesn't have too much else. It doesn't have any K-turns, any talons, any S-loops, anything like that to help it turn around. So the most you're going to be able to do is like a 2 hard trying to swing your fat butt around. Even the 3s, the 3 banks are red. There's so much red on this dial. The pod is definitely not much better. See, that does have a 3K, so that's nice. Also, 1 hard's being red. 2 hards being white on both of them, that does help. 4, it can go 4 straight, but red, and more often than not, if I can go 4 straight red, I usually never use it. A lot of red on this dial as well. Let's take a look at some of the cards. Interesting stat line. It has a little more health than I anticipated when I was first hearing about these guys. 2 attack, 1 evasion, which Rebels, resistance, that's kind of what you expect for them. 5 hull, 3 shields, which is a fair amount. Focus, target lock. It can coordinate, which is, I think, a big reason you're going to see these things on the table. And jam. This is one of their top pilots. While you defend or perform a primary attack, if your revealed maneuver is red, roll 1 additional die. You see, just like I was saying, a lot of these pilot abilities operate off of those red maneuvers. So I see a lot of that going on. Next one, while you have 2 or fewer stress tokens, you may execute red maneuvers even while stressed. Nice. After you coordinate or are coordinated, if you have 2 or fewer stress tokens, you may perform 1 action on your action bar as a red action, even if you are stressed. So, neat. The stuff with maneuvers, stress, all the other stuff, just like I was saying. These guys are pods. You can tell they're a little smaller picture. BB-8, he has his little coordinate. During the system phase, you may perform a red barrel roll or boost action. And obviously, it's BB-8. He's always barrel roll or boosting. You can see the stat line a little different. Still 2 attack, but 2 evasion since it is a little bit smaller. Only 3 hull and 1 shield, so these things can go down a little bit quicker. But, you know, like I was saying with it earlier with the pod, with them not including that, I think it was really a maneuver to keep you as much as possible from treating these as 2 ships. So someone wouldn't try to just use the base as the rebel transport and the pod separately to effectively get 2 ships for the price of 1. But I mean, you can still do it anyway. People have extra bases, and it's not like you can't. Like I said, cheap out. Bad. All right, Rose Tico. While you defend or perform an attack, you may re-roll up to 1 of your results for each friendly ship in the attack arc. Well, it's a decent ability. Finn, while you defend or perform an attack, you may add 1 blank, which is his usual, or you may gain 1 strain token to add 1 focus result. That's kind of interesting. See how that plays out. And this guy, V. Moradi. After placing forces, assign the compromising intel condition to 1 enemy ship. So here's compromising intel, and I'm not sure how this is going to play out just yet. During the system phase, if the enemy, V. Moradi, is at range 0 to 3, flip your dial face up. While you defend or perform an attack against him, you cannot spend focus tokens. Okay, so yeah, he's assigning this to 1 enemy ship. So that enemy ship has to deal with him directly. Yeah, if he's at range 0 to 3, flip your dial face up during the system phase. Okay, so he gets to kind of see your dial and then makes it to where you can't spend focus tokens. So it kind of makes him where he's a target, where you're gun for him. That's interesting. And it's the resistance. This is a long-winded ability. We'll go over that later. Just pause it if you want to read it. And angle deflector. I like this. I think this could end up seeing some play as well. It costs you 1 shield, but gives you the reinforce ability. And it can be used on small or medium ships, but you have to have a shield value of 1. You can't put this on a ship that doesn't have shields to gain reinforce. I think that was a good call on their side, because if they hadn't included that, people would have done that. But giving a small ship a reinforce ability could make it a hell of a lot more survivable. So I see angle deflectors coming in a lot more into play. Let's see. And so many of these are crew slots to, fill the transport, obviously. They got Leia, and they gave her a force. And I'm sorry, this is just playing off on the Star Wars movie where, hey, Leia's never had the force, but we're going to give it to her now. She does take up 2 crew slots, has the purple coordinate. After a friendly ship reveals its dial, you may spend 1 force. If you do, the chosen ship reduces the difficulty of that maneuver. Cool ability, kind of plays off similar to the other Leia card that's in the game now. And let's see, we've got some other new people as well. This one right here, that's the one that plays off to the one that I said to pause earlier. A lot going on with that card. I haven't exactly figured it out yet, so I don't want to say something wrong when it comes to this card. So, like I said, pause it, read it for yourself. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Amelin Holdo. Before you engage, you may choose another friendly ship at range 1 to 2. You may transfer to that ship 1 token of a type that ship doesn't have, and that ship may transfer 1 token to you of a type you do not have. Okay, transfer tokens around. And auto blasters have made a return. If the defender is in your bullseye, roll 1 additional die. During the neutralize result steps, if you are not in the defender's arc, evade results, do not cancel crits. So auto blasters aren't quite as good as they used to be, but they're still pretty decent. I guess it would depend on how well the person's using them. Nice to see them make them come back, though. Last of the new ships is the Hyena Bomber for the Separatist. I gotta say, that is a cool looking model. It has kind of like the double cockpit droid looking thing. Big wings. Just cool looking model. A little bigger than I anticipated. Maneuver dial is kind of similar to the other droids. One bank's being red. That is, oof, that's brutal. Two hards are blue, though. Always love to have a two hard being blue. They have two talons, two K turns. They don't even have a three bank, which, oof. Like I said, these guys have weird dials. Not having a three bank is just odd. Four straight being white, five straight being red. One hard being white, though. That is always a nice thing to have. Bunch of droid cards. They do have networked calculations. While you defend or perform an attack, you may spend one calculate token from a friendly ship at range 0 to 1 to change one focus, blah, blah, blah. So just like the other droids the other droid ships who can do that, these guys can as well. Nice thing to have. It does come in handy. Their stat line looks pretty similar. 2 attack, 2 evasion, and 5 hull instead. They do have a linked action, barrel roll to target lock, reload ability, nice. This one, while you perform a primary attack at range, you can, I've read that wrong. You can perform primary attacks at range 0. While you perform an attack, at attack range, that is oddly worded. While you perform an attack at attack range 0 to 1, you must roll 1 additional die. After the attack hits, suffer 1 critical damage. Ugh. That could be good or bad. Let's see that thing dying pretty quick. This one, DBS, at the start of the engagement phase, you may spend 1 calculate token to perform a coordinate action. That's actually kind of nice. You cannot coordinate ships that do not have the network calculation, which I anticipate you would have a lot of those guys on the board anyway, but that's a nice thing to have, being able to share those, and then there's the card that allows you to keep them between turn to turn. So neat ability there. Bombardment drone, you can have 3 of these guys. If you would drop a device, you may launch that device instead. That opens up a lot of options. And Bactoid prototype. While you perform a special attack, if a friendly ship with a network calculation ship ability has a lock on the defender, you may ignore the focus, calculate, or target lock requirements. That is nice. That would have helped me out with some of the other attacks that I've done when I've played with these guys. Passive sensors. Have we talked about this one yet? Yeah, we talked about passive sensors. Here is a new type of rocket. Diamond boron missiles. Does require target lock, but 3 attack dice, range 2 to 3. Spend 1 charge. After this attack hits, you can spend 1 charge. If you do, each ship at range 0 to 1 of the defender with agility equal to or less than the defender's ship rolls 1 attack die and suffers any hits or crits. It seems like this is kind of like a poor man's harpoon missiles. They're bringing back a little area of effect type damage, but not near as brutal as harpoons were, because there at the end of 1, everyone ran harpoon missiles because they were just destroying everything. What is this guy? TA-175. After a friendly ship at range 0 to 3 with calculate on its action bar is destroyed, each friendly ship at range 0 to 3 with calculate in its action bar gains 1 calculate. So, can be beneficial, and this thing is brutal. Electron proton bomb. Everything within range 0 to 2, I do believe it is, rolls a couple of dice and suffers the results. But you can do this during the system phase, spend 1 charge to drop it with the 1 template, then place 1 fuse marker on this device. That's something else that's new. Fuses, which will delay bombs. This card's charge cannot be recovered. And like I said, delayed fuses. After you drop, launch, or place a bomb or mine, you may place 1 fuse marker on that device, which will delay out. So, like I said, that's it. That's the new stuff that is released with Wave 4, with the exception of, like I said, the other ships that have already existed in the game that I didn't bother to get because, like I said, everyone has them. All right, that's going to be it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Y'all take care. I'll catch you in the next one.